Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? It is so cold outside. It is currently 4:24 a.m. on this freezing cold Wednesday going into Thursday. It is currently 23 degrees outside. And I was just looking at the weather before I left. It's supposed to be 61 on Saturday for Christmas. Which now I'm like, it's so cold. Could we just keep this weather through Christmas? Because if we're not gonna have snow, I would at least kind of like to have, I'll at least go for just having cold weather. You know what I mean? But we're not even gonna have cold weather for Christmas. It's gonna be 61 degrees outside. So, and then tomorrow, it's supposed to be a high of 47 and a low of 44, which means tomorrow night when I'm driving around, supposedly, I guess we'll find out, I probably won't even remember, but it's supposed to be 20 degrees higher than it is right now. I can't even imagine. So anyway, how are you guys doing today? I was going to vlog early and go to bed early tonight, like I always say, and that did not happen. Alex and I went over to his mom's house tonight for dinner, and we came back, and I was like so tired, and I told him, I said, I'm gonna go vlog right now and then just go to bed, because A, I'm tired and I don't want to stay up super late tonight, and then B, I can get up early tomorrow and I can get some stuff done. And he was like, okay, he is done Christmas shopping. He is done with work for the week, so he gets to just kind of hang out and stuff. I was like, do you have a lot of stuff to do before Christmas? Because I have a lot of stuff to do before Christmas still. I have a couple presents I have to buy. And I've got to wrap all these presents. And I always wait till the very last moment. I was actually, the other day, I was like, I had wrapped a couple presents one day, and then I had wrapped a couple presents the next day, and I was like, oh, I'm kind of getting my wrapping done early, you know? And Alex, like, when he buys a present, he wraps it that day. So it's, like, just done. And, so now I have, like, all these presents, number one, that I have to wrap. Number two, why am I listing everything tonight? I have hidden a bunch of Alex's stuff around the house, you guys. Like, it would come, and I'd be like, I don't know where to put this, and I'd shove it underneath the kitchen counter, you know, where I knew he wouldn't look somewhere. And now, I don't know if I know all the places that I've hidden stuff. So I'm gonna have to go through all of my places tomorrow and see if I can find where I've hidden the things for Alex. So, which is kind of funny. But anyway, so yeah, we came home, and I was like, I'm just gonna lay down for 45 minutes, and that was at like 11:45, and he was like, oh no, that was at like 12:45 actually, and he was like, you're just gonna lay down? I thought you were gonna go vlog right now. And I said, I know, but I'm really tired. And so he goes, okay, and I fell asleep, and I just kept on snoozing and snoozing my alarm until I finally just turned it off. And then I was like, I woke up like wide awake at like, it was like 4:03, I think. It was 4:03 or 4:04 in the morning. I was like wide awake. And, oh my gosh. So now I'm up, and I brought out my Peanuts cup. I want to use it a couple last times before Christmas. Not like I'm never going to use it again, but, and then a Diet Coke. So we'll open that, because I am dying of thirst right now. Don't remember any of my dreams, but I was very rested. Boo Radley, he kept on like getting up, and he does this thing. Your dogs do this where they circle and they like get real tight, but he does it like up against me, like I'm protecting him, I don't know, from the wind of the fan or something like that. So he pushes real hard against my back sometimes if I'm sleeping on my side, and I was sleeping on my side. And so what happens is I move over so he has more room. And then when I woke up, I was like on the very edge of the bed, and Boo Radley had all this room. And I was like, okay, Boo Radley, this is becoming a problem. And he just kind of sat there and looked at me. And then I was putting on my clothes, and he moved into between the pillows, because he likes to sleep between the pillows. I think it feels real safe to him. And so he gets in this like real tight ball between the pillows sometimes. And so it was so cute, because I was putting on my jeans, and I put on my boots because it's cold outside, obviously. So so I was putting on my Ugg boots, and then Tucker's all spread out on this comfort blanket, right, that we have, that somebody sent, and he loves this. I don't know what it is about the feeling of this crocheted blanket. He just loves it so much. And I look over, and Boo Radley's little face is sticking out from the pillows like this. It was so cute. But it made me not want to come out in the cold even more. I have to kind of work myself up into it sometimes when it's this cold outside. So, but now that I'm out here, and then I sat in my car for a second because I still want to watch Gremlins. I don't know why I want to watch Gremlins this year. So I was like warming up my car, and I was looking up where I can watch Gremlins, which actually you can watch it on HBO Max if you're interested at all to see Gremlins. I mean, Gremlins, it's funny because I saw it on some list. It was like the 10 like best Christmas movies ever or something, or 10 worst Christmas. I don't know if I would consider, what do you call it? Gremlins like one of the best Christmas movies. I don't know if I would consider it one of the best movies of anything. But I was like, oh, Gremlins. Like I totally forgot about that. So I want to have that on in the background. Tonight, I watched the tail end of Smoky Mountain Christmas again, and I was sitting there at the computer doing some stuff, and I was watching like the very end of it, and it's this part where, I mean, the movie's been out this long, so I hope I'm not spoiling it for anybody, but it's this part where they have to go to court because Dolly Parton and Chris Christopherson steal this sleigh to get these kids out of the children's home, and all this stuff happens. But anyway, so they have to go to court, and John Ritter is the judge, you know, from Three's Company. And my mom used to always say she liked his dad, that his dad was really funny. I can't remember what the show that his dad was on, though. But anyway, so it's Dolly Parton and Chris Christopherson on one side, and then the guy that plays the sheriff and the two women from the children's home on the other side, and the kids are like up in the jury box, but they're not like, you know, obviously on trial or anything. And so after like all the judgments are made, Dolly Parton asks for custody of all of these kids, and he's like, well, what makes you like, you know, appropriate to be have custody of them or whatever, or be their mom or something, like I can't remember what he says, but and she's like, well Judge, I don't know if I am capable or something like that. And the kids are like, she is capable, she can cook, she's the best mom we've ever had, and stuff like that. And the one little girl's like, she took me to the doctor, and it's so cute. And so then he awards like custody to her. And then it goes into this song, this take my hand, take my heart. I'm gonna start crying. I don't know why, like this song, every time I hear this song, it just like gets me so emotional. But it's all of them like sitting around the little cabin in the woods, and they're exchanging these presents. And I love that song so much. But you can see I'm like a mess, and I just started bawling. And Alex is like, are you okay, babe? Are you crying? I'm like, yes, I'm crying to the song. And then I was like, I kind of wonder if it's not like subconsciously like missing my mom, because my mom and I used to go to Gatlinburg, Tennessee every year because I loved this movie so much that I kind of wanted to recreate it a little bit, which is so funny because when I was watching it, I was kind of like, it does kind of look like the cabin that we had the first year, because we took a Christmas tree down there and stuff the very first year that we went down there, which was so fun. Which we always slept on the 23rd, so that would have been tomorrow. Because my ex and I don't know why this camera is doing me wrong tonight, but yeah, that was always a fun trip. Take my hand, take my heart, take my whole life too. The gift of love. And I also watched part of John Denver and the Muppets. You guys, by the way, all of these movies that I have mentioned this year, if you want to see all of them, this thing is like at a slant tonight. I don't know why it's doing this. I know like I mess with the camera every night, but like tonight it's like sitting at an angle like that. All these movies that I'm talking about, except for Gremlins, you can find on YouTube. Like Smoky Mountain Christmas is on YouTube. all the cartoons. Rudolph is on YouTube, like a really clear copy of it. Most of them are pretty clear copies. Fat Albert, Smurfs, Garfield, but I haven't watched that one yet. I mean, there's tons of these Christmas shows on YouTube for free. Like I said, the only one that, I think I said this last night, the only one that really you have to buy is the Peanuts, Charlie Brown's Christmas, which was on TV the other night. I've actually watched more shows than I thought. I said something to Tanya about, I go, oh, you don't believe that I have a list? And she goes, no, I can't imagine, or something like that. Because I said I'd watched all these shows, and I said, oh, you can't imagine that I have a list? I said, let me show you my list, and I showed her, because it has all these little green check boxes next to the ones that I'd done. She goes, no, I can imagine that you have a list. I know you. She was like, I can't imagine having, because I said I had like 25 movies or shows on my list, and she goes, no, I can imagine you have a list. She goes, I can't imagine having 25 hours of free time just to sit and watch Christmas movies. I go, well, Tanya, I go, it's not like I'm sitting there just glued to the TV watching. I said, I have them on in the background while I'm doing other stuff. And she was like, oh. But now it's getting kind of down to the wire, you know. I mean, it's like the 23rd, and I haven't watched my shows, and I still have like 10 shows because I keep on adding shows to the list. And so I was thinking about it tonight before I left. I was like, what are like the really, really important shows that I want to watch? Well, every year I love to watch A Christmas Carol. So I want to watch The Christmas Carol. And then I really would like to watch Polar Express. Other than that, like, there are other things I'd like to... I really wanted to see Christmas Comes to Willow Creek this year because I haven't seen it in a couple years. And I really wanted to see It Came Upon a Midnight Clear, which is also on YouTube. And I might have that on in the background while I'm doing some stuff tomorrow, but like, I am really glad I watched Krampus this year. And maybe Alex and I will watch Black Christmas, like, I don't know, on Christmas Day or something like that. So, I had a good day today. Alex worked a half day, and then he went to the mall and did a bunch of shopping. He had some last minute shopping he had to do. He said the mall was absolutely packed. And then he came home, and we had to be at his mom's house. Well, we were supposed to be there at 7, but we got there at like 7:30, but it was totally fine because they were just kind of hanging out. Alex's cousin Maya flew in today from Las Vegas. And it was so good to see her. She came in this morning, and they had just kind of been like hanging out all day long doing stuff. So Alex came home and he fed the dogs, and then I was finishing up videos and stuff, and then I changed, and then we went to his mom's house, and it was fun. We played a lot of music, and his mom was dancing and stuff. If you follow my Instagram, I put pictures of, or videos of his mom dancing on Instagram. It was cute. And then his grandma was there, so it was Alex and I, and his mom, and Maya, and his grandma. And then one of Maya's friends that, like, whenever she's in town, he always comes over. He was like a friend of hers from like way back in the day. So he's kind of like a family friend now. He comes and visits, and so he came over, and that was really fun to see him. And then Alex's mom is like really big into like, well, first of all, so she follows a lot of my Peterisms videos. And so when I did the Rhonda Byrne 28 Days of Gratitude, the book called Magic, she did that book as well, and she loved it. And so at that time, like, she loves anything like inspirational or motivational or whatever. So I don't really know. I don't know the history of it, but they were all telling me about it. The 21st or the 22nd, I feel like it was the 21st, is something spiritual in Venezuela that they celebrate. And so, or she did, or something like that. I don't know. Their family did, or something like that. But so it was like the year that it was like time you do like your intention. Like she always had done her intentions or whatever. So like after we ate, we had our 8 bus, and then she had us listen to this meditation on YouTube. It was really sweet. She had us listen to this like guided meditation on YouTube. We were all sitting in the dark, and she had like incense lit. It was real sweet. And so, no, it was like sage that she had lit, and she was like saging the house. And so we listened to this, it was like a Deepak Chopra meditation. It was really nice. And the music, I mean, it was like probably 15 minutes. And I was so relaxed. And so then she like had cut up all this poster board, and she had us like write down like this is something like Alex and his brothers have done since they were little kids. They do it every year. Remember I told you about this with Alex and his friend? Okay, so I didn't know that we were going to do this tonight, though. So we did, I don't remember doing it before, you know. So we did, we wrote down all of our intentions and for 2022. And, oh, and then before that, we went around and she had us like each like talk about things that we were grateful for that happened in 2021 and what we're grateful for today. And she said like a little prayer and stuff like that. It was really nice. And then she goes, okay, time to dance. So then we put the music back on and we were dancing, and it was so fun. And his grandma had a really, really good time. And it just was fun. It was really nice. So, and, she was so funny because she looked at me and she goes, Peter, she goes, we have so many great foods for Christmas Eve. And I was like, really? And she was like, yeah. She was like, we have ayacas, which they have every year. It's like a Venezuelan tradition. It's like wrapped in leaves. And she goes, and they're so good. And Alex's grandma doesn't speak English. And so it was funny because she was like saying it, but then like translate it at the same time, like for Alex's grandma. And then she was like, and we're gonna make this chicken salad that is delicious. And she kind of started listening to these things. And his grandma said something, and she goes, oh. And I go, what? And she goes, you're a vegetarian. And I said, yes, I am. His grandma had said to her, he's a vegetarian, which I thought was so cute. And so she was like, well, we'll figure something out. So I'm gonna have to like I need to go get some stuff to take over there. I have to go to Costco tomorrow. So I wanted to make all these videos tomorrow, you guys, and true story, like I have so many things I need to do before the weekend, before Friday and Saturday, that I don't know how I'm gonna get these videos done. But anyway, I need to go to Costco tomorrow, so I think I might get one of those mac and cheeses, and we can just take it there, and we can that can be like our contribution, and then I'll have macaroni and cheese. She did buy a bunch of, when Alex took her to Costco the other day, she bought a bunch of hummus and stuff like that, so I'll buy a couple more dips. I'll buy some pub cheese and some stuff like that. They always love when I bring that stuff over, so I'll bring some of that. And then, so that's Christmas Eve. I'm really excited about that. We're supposed to wear our pajamas, and then Alex and Maya were talking about games they want to play, and so we're gonna play Cards Against Humanity, and we're gonna play What's Your Meme, I guess. Maya was going on and on about that tonight, and then Alex has like Alex has a ton of games because he takes games over to his friend's house when they we'll sit there and have a couple glasses of wine or whatever. So, he's gonna bring some games over, and then we'll probably watch like a movie or something. It'll be real fun. I'm excited. And then, what was I gonna say? Oh, and then I guess Caroline, my cousin, reached out to Alex today because she was like, what is your mom doing on Christmas Day? Well, they don't celebrate Christmas. I mean, they celebrate Christmas Day, but really like his whole family's Christmas is all on Christmas Eve. So Alex was like, she's not doing anything. She's just going to be like at home relaxing and stuff. And so my cousin was like, well, why don't you have her come over to Christmas dinner at our house? She was like, we had such a good time with her, so why don't you have her come over? So, which I thought was so sweet, wasn't it? And so, she is going to come over to Christmas dinner at Caroline's house. And she's bringing 2 desserts. She is going to bring flan. And then she's also going to bring this coconut cake that is like her mom has made all these years. I'm not a big lover of like just like shredded coconut like that, but this cake is like unbelievable. And I'm supposed to also bring a dessert, so I don't know what dessert I'm going to bring. I think I'm just going to get a pie somewhere. I might just get a pie at Costco. But their pies are so big. Costco's food is actually really good. You know, I don't know why this just occurred to me, but you know tomorrow is going to be the busiest day in all of hell to go to Costco. Why did I wait till tomorrow to go to Costco? Everybody and their mother is going to be at Costco tomorrow. Stupid Peter, stupid. Oh well. I also need to go to Menards and get a trash can. And also, when we were leaving, Alex's mom's slippers were on the staircase. Because we were joking about Christmas presents tonight. And I said, what you needed to do was ask for some new slippers. I said, because those slippers look like they're about to fall. She was laughing so hard. She was like, oh, you're so funny. I said, those slippers look like they fell apart about 2 months ago. It's so funny to me, like, my mom always wore slippers. Do you guys wear slippers? My mom always wore slippers. Like, I always bought her slippers for Christmas. And my grandma always wore slippers. And my aunt always wore slippers. Alex's mom wears slippers. His aunt wears slippers. His grandma wears slippers. I was actually going to get his grandma some slippers. So I'm going to have to see, I've got some things I've got to do. I've got gift cards. All of that would probably, like, if there's not major traffic, construction, I was going to say, if there's not major traffic, like, it's not busy in the stores, then all of that will probably, it could take me an hour and a half. I could have that stuff done very quickly. It's just going to depend on how crowded it is tomorrow when I go places. And then tomorrow at some point, Alex's mom wants us to stop by there again. And so we're going to stop by there tomorrow at some point. And then I really want to vlog early tomorrow night because I don't want to wake up super late on Christmas Eve and like have lost the whole day, you know what I mean? Not to mention that I may have some last minute shopping things that I have to do because Alex came home today from the mall and he like set all these presents and he got wrapped at the store like right by the Christmas tree. I'm so glad I put up the Christmas tree this year when I did because it's so pretty and we leave it on, and so like when I come home at night it's like it's still like turned on and stuff. It's so pretty. I mean, it's just a little Christmas tree, but I love it. So anyway, and I love the patio, to come home to the patio. Like each day this week, I've been like, oh, it's one of the last days of the, I mean, I'm going to keep the Christmas lights up through the new year, but I was like, it's one of the last, I don't know when I'll take them down, actually. I kind of wanted to see all that stuff with some snow. I might keep it up a while just to see what it looks like with some snow. Well, not the Christmas trees inside, obviously, but, yeah, I really wanted to see what my lights look like with the ground at least dusted with snow. Take my hand, take my heart, take my whole life too. You know, I've tried to find those Dolly Parton songs from Smoky Mountain Christmas before to download, and they're nowhere to be found. They were like unreleased from a made-for-TV movie. Don't you think that's silly? I think that they should have released those. She should have released those songs. So that's Christmas Eve. We'll We'll go over to Alex's mom's house, and I'm sure we'll stay over there super, super late. And then Christmas Day. Oh, this is the other thing that's kind of funky. Like, stuff is starting to come weirdly to our house. Like, so I ordered Boo and Tucker, like, from the same company on Amazon. Do you know, like, companies have their pages on Amazon and stuff? I ordered them from the same company on Amazon, each one of these. Like, I ordered Boo a dog, and I ordered Tucker, it's like a lamb, or maybe vice versa, I don't know. But they're like these stuffed animals that are kind of like really lightweighted, that they're not super heavy at all. And then in a box comes this little heart that like beats like a real heart, and you take it out and you put the battery inside of it, and then you put it inside of the stuffed animal. I don't know if it just like goes all the time or what happens, but anyway, I'll have to read it and see. One of them came a couple days ago, like 2 days ago, 3 days ago. The first one came, and the second one hasn't come yet. That's the first thing. Second thing is, this one thing that I ordered Alex, guaranteed by Christmas, and I ordered it way long time ago in November. I haven't even got that it shipped. It hasn't even shipped out yet. So, but I know stuff is tough this year with like shipping and getting things places and stuff like that. And Alex was telling me today, he was like, some of the things I got you won't be here till after. I was like, I mean, I think we need to just be understanding of that stuff. It's not that big of a deal, right? It's nice that we can even buy each other Christmas presents. So, but yeah, and then this box came today, and I opened it, and it was a weighted blanket, and I was like, it was like from Amazon, and I was like, I did not order this weighted blanket. It was like, where did this weighted blanket come from? And it said my name on the box and everything. It's this huge weighted blanket. And I was like, what is this? So I said to Alex, I said, did you order a weighted blanket? And he goes, no. And I go, where did this come from? And he goes, is there a note with it? And I said, I looked all through the box. I go, no, there's no note with it. And so he goes, oh, that's the strangest thing. I have no idea. I have no idea who sent that to you. I'm like, okay. So then like 20 minutes later, Alex goes, Fufu and Jesse sent you the weighted blanket. I go, how do you know? And he goes, well, they mentioned something to me about it on the phone, so I just assumed it was from them, and I wanted to check and make sure. And so I texted them, and I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. I mean, this is a really nice weighted blanket. It's like king size. So, and then Alex was like, are you going to put it on the bed tonight? I was like, I know, it can wait till after the first of the year. I said, my Christmas comforter is staying on there. And then I looked at Alex tonight. I don't know why I completely forgot this. We were like on our way home. And I said, I want to change the sheets before Christmas and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And he was like, because I just want to have like fresh and clean sheets, you know, on the bed and whatever. And he said, are you wanting to put the red sheets on the bed for Christmas? And I go, we have red sheets? And he goes, yeah, they're in the closet. I said, oh my God, I forgot all about that. So the red sheets will be on our bed for Christmas, which I'm really excited about. And I've been keeping the Christmas trees plugged in and all this kind of stuff. Okay, if you're watching this and you're part of the Vloggerinos and you want to know, the winner of the Cozy Christmas picture on the Vloggerinos Facebook group, I'm going to make the announcement on Christmas Eve. Troy has already picked his winners and sent them to me. I have to look through it, and then I will see who his winners are, and I'll see what I think, and then we will go with that. So I'm real excited about that. This has been a good Christmas season. It really has. Like, I've done a lot of Christmassy stuff. I've got to hang out with friends and family, which has been really, really nice. And, you know, when we were sitting there tonight talking about, like, what we were grateful for, you know, I was thinking a lot about, just over, like, the last year and the last couple years, and I was thinking about, you know, people that have come in and out of our lives in the last couple years, and people that are no longer around and stuff like that. And I was saying that, where am I at on time before I get into this? Oh, I think it's going to stop here in just a second. I thought it was almost at the end. But I was saying that tonight that, you know, like, there's so many different things I was grateful for, but like one of them was I was really grateful for that, and this is really sad, but that we made it through this Christmas season with Tucker, and that he's doing really well, you know. I was really worried when we got the diagnosis that it was going to be quick and that we weren't even going to make it through Christmas. And the little guy is such a trooper, and he's running all over the house, and he's just being so cute, you know, and I'm just so very thankful that not only have we been able to have a last Christmas with Tucker, well, I don't know, I mean, maybe this isn't his last, maybe he'll live another 4 years, you know, hopefully, but that not only did we get Christmas with Tucker this year, but he was healthy and able to enjoy Christmas, like really fully enjoy it, you know, and so that made me so happy. I think I want to get him some special little food things for Christmas. I know I shouldn't, but I always want to. Ferrari hasn't been like eating his dinner a lot lately, so I want to see if maybe if I mix it up a little bit, he'll eat something. Or maybe we'll have, because like I'll tell you one thing that they love, and it's pretty safe on Christmas, or it's pretty safe as far as like they won't like, it won't give them diarrhea and stuff, is to make them chicken and rice. They love chicken and rice. So maybe on Christmas Eve and Christmas, we'll make them chicken and rice, and maybe I'll get some like little carrots and peas and stuff to cut up. I need to look on there and see what vegetables are safe for animals, and then maybe I'll make some like homemade like food for them for their Christmas. Wouldn't that be so cute? I'll make them a homemade dinner for Christmas. That would make me happy. Alex's mom and cousin were like tonight, they were like, what do you want for Christmas? And I was like, there's not really anything I want. And, you know, I can remember when I was growing up and asking my dad that, you know, or people asking my dad that, my dad would be like, and I always thought that was so weird, like you wouldn't ask for something that you wanted for Christmas. And I was sitting there for a moment, and that car is so pretty, it's this gunmetal gray pickup truck. And I was sitting there and I thought to myself, there really isn't anything that I want, you know, this year for Christmas. Like, I feel really, really content. I'm very happy with where my life is right now. I feel very, very blessed, the people I have in my life, and there really isn't anything that I want for Christmas. I mean, don't get me wrong, I mean, I'll love anything that I get, but I was like, there's not really a whole lot that I want for Christmas, you know? And, so yeah. We're down to the last few Christmas trees. I wonder if anybody's going to be buying those Christmas trees at the Christmas tree farm 2 days before Christmas. I'm hungry. I woke up hungry. Does that ever happen to you? This guy's going to go really fast and pass me on the left. Why do people do that? They go real fast and they pass. You're on a one-lane road and they go real fast and they pass you on the right-hand side. I think I just want to eat good food, spend time with my loved ones, and be happy, you know? I do want to sit down though tonight, like I was talking to Alex's mom, like I didn't do a lot of my intentions tonight because like Alex and his cousin were like talking and there was music playing and stuff, and I kind of like to sit in like peaceful meditation, kind of like when I'm doing like making like goals for the next year. And I do want to sit down and make a list of all of my goals for the next year, because you know, a lot of the goals that, and not just for the next year but for the next couple years, you know, a lot of the goals that I have some kind of like, you know, manifestation, visual imagery, goal dream list, right? So many of the goals that I set for myself a couple years ago, I've achieved. And, like, I can remember, I haven't told this story in a while, so I'll tell it. So, my friend is really, so I have a friend of mine, and she married Alex and I. Her name was Brittany, and she was Miss Indiana, and then she placed 6th at the Miss USA pageant, and she's just really inspirational and motivational, and has had tough stuff happen in her life, and just trudges forward and looks at it as learning experiences and stuff like that. So she and I have always, since we've met, talked about, she was our first friend together that Alex and I ever met. So that was why we asked her to marry us. And so she was the officiant at our wedding in Las Vegas, and she was actually living in Las Vegas at the time. So she and I have always talked about spiritual things, and we've always talked about, it's funny because every time I say something about her on here, there's like 2 or 3 people that are like, oh my God, like I grew up with her, or I'm her cousin. One of her cousins used to watch my vlog channel. She's got like a ton of family that are spread out all over. She's a big family. So anyway, but she and I were talking one time, and she actually told me to read this book called The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. She and I used to read, she's read a lot of these motivational books. Actually, some of the best books that I've ever read, Brittany told me to read. Like, she told me to read The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, and she told me to read Brian Weiss's, oh shoot, what is it? It's the one about past life regression. Many Lives, Many Masters is what it's called. And so, which that book was really interesting to me if you've never read it. So he's a psychiatrist. I can't remember where he worked, but somewhere like Harvard, Yale, Princeton, somewhere like that, East Coast College. He was a very renowned psychiatrist, and he had been working with this woman, and he was doing like past, not like psychic past life regression, but just like hypnosis. He would take her into hypnosis, and he would do regression in her own life to like remove trauma. And so he would go back, and I am a believer in that. I am a believer that hypnosis, if you are correctly trained to do it, and I mean like doctorally trained correctly to do hypnosis, I think can be extremely effective. And so he was working with this woman. Well, over the course of like a period, she kept on going back and back in time, and she would go back to like when she was 10 years old, but she would always stop at some point. And so finally he was like doing this past life regression with her, or he was doing this hypnotic or hypnosis regression with her, and she, all of a sudden she was like 2, or she remembered being born or something. I can't remember in the book what happened, but it was like she was really young, like too young to remember. And he was like, take me back further, and all of a sudden she's like pregnant, and it's like she went into like this life that she had before. And so what he started realizing was that through hypnosis you could take people into past life regressions, okay? And he swears by it. Like, it really changed my whole perception on, not that I 100% believe it or am skeptical, it really made me look at things in a different way, because basically the fundamental idea to that is that we have a set of like a spirit group, right? That we come through each lifetime together to learn certain things. I mean, it's a really interesting concept. So we come through this world together as a group. So like, I'm a spirit, or I'm a soul, Alex is a soul, Tanya's a soul, Valerie's a soul, Alex's mom is a soul, my mom is a soul, my dad, like all these people, right? Collectively in my life. But in every life, maybe we play different roles to each other. So maybe in my last life, Alex was my brother, and so in this life, I'm working out something that happened in the last life, and that's what these life cycles are about learning lessons in our lives to better ourselves as souls. And that was kind of what this was about, was that these memories that she was having with other people, she was playing out in her life today, because she had these previous lives with these people, but they just played different roles. And it was really interesting, because it was kind of like, okay, so it's the people in our lives and the souls of those people that we have, not necessarily the roles that they play. It was a really interesting concept. And then Brittany suggested that I read The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, which is a really famous motivational book, and it is about this guy. It's kind of a fabulistic tale, and he was like this super famous attorney. I think it's like a fictional story, but it's like, I don't remember, honestly. But he is like the super rich attorney. Yeah, it's a made-up tale, because somebody's like telling it in the book, if I remember correctly. And he's like this super wealthy attorney that's like overweight, drives is it a Ferrari or a Lamborghini? The monk who sold his Lamborghini, I think it's his Ferrari. And he drives all these expensive cars, has this expensive house, but like he has there's no meaning to his life. Like, it's just meaningless. Like, he doesn't have good relationships with people. He doesn't have good romantic relationships. He has like women that are in and out of his life, and he's not healthy. I think he has a heart attack, and he ends up in the hospital. And so he meets this guy that comes back from like this spiritual retreat, I think in India, and he's like, you know, he was like, you're not even the same person. And he's like, yeah, like I went and I did this, and I met with these monks, and, you know, it just like completely changed my life. And so this monk, this guy sells like all of his worldly possessions, like, and leaves and goes and lives with these monks in the mountains of India. And it's about these lessons. But really, like, that's the premise to the book. And it's about like all of these lessons that he learned in his life, or by like being with them, and how he became a different person. I need to reread that book. That book was really fantastic. I read it the last time. I should listen to it on Audible. There's actually a couple other like inspirational books that I want to read. There's a couple biographies I want to read as well. I think I'm going to read some biographies in 2022. I need to come up with kind of like a reading plan in 2022. Like, I really want to continue to read the Cozy Mysteries in the series, because I'm just like, my reading has just taken off, and I've enjoyed it so much more since I'm really doing all that. But at the same time, I think like I want to read every month. I want to read like a self-help book. I want to read some kind of non-fiction book every month, like an autobiography, or like, you know, and about people that I don't know that I necessarily would, like, there's always on the bestseller list of Audible, there's always like one person, like their autobiography that like I look at and I'm like, why would I want to read that book? But that's always like in the top 10. Matthew McConaughey, who I think is sexy as hell, his book has been on the top bestseller list for weeks. I mean, weeks, months now on Audible. And I have it on Audible, and it's short. It's like 6 hours, and I haven't read it. So I need to read that. There's a couple other ones on there. So I want to start reading like an autobiography or a biography every month, and just become more educated. Just become more educated about just stuff, you know? And then I want to read a classic every month too. And not necessarily a classic that I want to reread some classics. I would like to reread like The Sun Also Rises and stuff like that. But I really want to like read some classics I've never read before. I've never read a Vonnegut book. I want to read a Vonnegut book. But anyway, I have some goals for that. So, okay. So Brittany and I would talk about all of that. Well, she and I had both read The Secret, okay, by Rhonda Byrne. And I'm a big believer in the law of attraction, but I really think that what Rhonda Byrne did was, I think she just took the law of attraction and had all these different people talk about it, and then she turned it into a real sellable book. I don't think it's anything genius that she did, but I do love The Secret, and I feel like it's very consolidated. Eddie, if you watch the movie, which I think is free on YouTube, like, it's super inspiring to watch all these different people talk about the law of attraction. And so Brittany and I were talking about, we were on the phone, and it was like summertime, and I can remember, because I can see myself, I was like sitting on the front porch, like on the cement, and she was like, she so believes in The Secret. Like, believes hardcore in The Secret. And she did at least then. I don't know. We haven't talked about it in a while. So anyway, I mean, she's a big believer in manifesting your destiny and positivity, and she just is really super inspirational. And so she was like, do you believe in The Secret? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, do you really believe in it? And I was like, she was like, because you have to really believe in it. Like, you have to make it work for you. And she's like, you know, like, you can't just, like, say, like, I can remember reading it, and I really wanted a Porsche Cayenne. I know this is so silly, but I really did. And, oh my God, that is so funny. Like, this car just drove by, and I looked over, and I thought it was a Porsche Cayenne. It was an Audi SUV, but I was like, that would be so weird. But I really wanted a Porsche Cayenne for a long time. And I can remember using that as an example with her. And she's like, but you can't just want a Porsche Cayenne. She's like, you have to, like, wake up every day and visualize yourself driving a Porsche Cayenne to work. Like, you see yourself in this Porsche Cayenne. You want it so bad. But she goes, it goes further than that. It goes into this drive that you have, that you are working hard enough to have that Porsche Cayenne, right? Like, it's not just about, I want a Porsche Cayenne. Now I have a Porsche Cayenne. It's about all of the work that you do to, like, inspire that dream of The Secret, right? Of, like, what, or that law of attraction of what you want, that you bring to you. Well, by wanting it bad enough, you then are working harder, and then you're bringing these things to you. It's like this, you know, cycle. So we were just talking about all kinds of things. I had, like, goals of, like, at that time, like, paying off debt and just, like, you know, positive, like, other than that, like, emotional goals in my life and things like that. And she said every year I set a goal of 10 things for myself. And she was like, then I work really, really hard on something like this. I can't remember, but she set all these goals for herself. And I said something like, well, how many have you achieved? And she was like, all of them. And I was like, what? And she was like, all of them. She was like, I really work because I believe this. I work really hard on it. And you have to read your list every day. And you have to really have the mindset that you want to achieve these things and whatever. So she said something to me about making a list on my phone, like keeping it on my phone where I could see it. So, like, I made my list, and then, like, a week or two went by, and we were talking on the phone again, and she was like, I can remember the conversation. It was so funny because she was in Vegas at the time, I think. And I said something to her. I mean, this has been like 10 years ago now. And I said something to her. No, it hasn't been 10 years ago. Well, maybe, because we were married 10 years ago. But I said to her, I said, she said something about, have any of your goals come true yet? And I said, no, it's been like 2 weeks. And she goes, right, have any of your goals come true? And I said, do you know, Brittany? I said, she started laughing at me. I said, you know, some goals happen for people a little bit easier when you're 6 foot, blonde, beautiful young lady. I said, some doors open for you a little bit easier than when you're me, you know? And she goes, I won't allow that. I won't allow you to accept that as an excuse. And I was like, what? And she's like, I won't allow you to accept that as an excuse, something to that effect. She was like, you're not going to use that as an excuse when people are accomplishing their dreams all over the world, no matter what their age is, no matter what their obstacles in life are. She was like, you need to get that out of your head. And she was like, and I was like, okay. And so she said to me, but this was like the real lesson. She said, how often are you looking at how many times a day are you looking at your list? And I go, oh, I mean, I look at it like every other day. And she goes, you're not looking at it she's like, Peter, you have to look at your list like every day, like 10 times a day. She was like, you need to take time in the morning, because she knew that I did prayers and meditation stuff. She's like, after you do that, you need to sit and just kind of like focus on your list for a little bit of the day, so you have that in your mindset. And you know, this is important to know. It could be, your list could be just things like a Porsche Cayenne, but my list wasn't just things. I mean, it was like emotional happiness, it was like good marriage, it was like all of these things, right? So, but you know what is so weird about this? Okay, so I started doing what she said to do. I made the, you know, conscious effort to like go to my list. Like, I mean, I was looking at that list 10 times a day, if not more, and really focusing on it and really thinking about the things on there. And you know what is so weird is that I wouldn't say it was in a year, but I would say in about 2 years, other than the Porsche Cayenne, but that changed, and I'll tell you why. In about 2 years, almost everything, I would say 8 out of those 10 things on that list were achieved. And you know what is so weird about that is, like, this is what I talk about with the Porsche Cayenne. One of the things that happened was that things I thought I wanted in my life changed, because through this process of looking at really, like, focusing on what I really wanted in my life and what I really desired to have in my life, and then reading these spiritual, not just books that she had recommended, but books that other people recommended, books that, you know, I had heard about forever, books that, I mean, just that I would find in the bookstore. What I realized was, at the end of the day, a Porsche Cayenne really isn't that important. It's really nice to have, and I would really love to have driven a Porsche Cayenne, and maybe someday I will, you know? But at the end of the day, it really didn't rank that high on things that were that important to me in my life. And so that's what started changing for me, you know? Is I started looking at the world in a completely different way. I am such a believer today in all of that, in, like, you know, setting goals and intentions and really making them happen, and but you have to put the work towards it. I mean, that's the other thing too, you know, it's like, I mean, you have to put the work to it. And, like, one of the funny things that people say to me is, they're like, you know, like, how do you post so many videos a day? Like, or they'll say, like, you know, like, I wish people watch my videos like they watch your videos, but how do you post so many videos a day? I post so many videos a day because I love to do it. And I just, like I said earlier, like, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I will figure it out to fit my videos in my schedule tomorrow, because that is something that I so love to do. And, you know, I think in life, it's either like, do something that you're loving to do, or have the end result partly be because of that. And maybe your end result is just one of your goals is that, you know, I mean, it's not always about having things. It's sometimes about emotional happiness, you know, and, I don't know. I also think it's being grateful for the things that you have, right? Like, I think at different stages in my life, my list would have looked completely different. Like, you know, when I was younger, my list would be like, be able to pay my rent on my apartment, graduate with my master's degree, you know, have a boyfriend, pay all my bills, you know. Those are still things that are on my list today. Those things are still, you know, and I do keep an ongoing list of goals and whatever, because I think it keeps me in the mindset of, where am I? And, you know, I love the saying, like, I learned this from my friend this year. This is probably one of my favorite sayings I learned is, where are your feet? My feet are in today. My feet aren't yet in yesterday. They're not in tomorrow. I can't do anything about that. My feet are in today. Where am I? I'm in today, right? And I gotta be realistic about my goals and my intentions today of where I'm at and what I can achieve today for tomorrow. So if my goals are, these are the things I want my life to look like down the road, you know, one of the books that I love, I think it's the 40 Days and 40 Nights book by Melody Beatty, and I want to go in and I want to read it again, and I think I'm going to do that in January, because it's 40 Days and 40 Nights of Gratitude. But one of the things I love that she talks about in there is, like, she was at a point in her life where she was running the Hazelden family programs, and her husband, who was like some bigwig, I think it was Hazelden, maybe it was another treatment program, but he turned out to be like this drunk that was like treated her horribly and all this kind of stuff. And she's like, and he had convinced her to take her family money that she had gotten and buy this money pit of a house. She's completely poor. She has no money. She's worried about not having a place to live. She's got her daughter, and she's pregnant with another child, okay? And he's never around. And she's got to figure out how to pay for this monstrosity of a house. And one day, and she's a big believer in like paying it forward with gratitude. And one day she was sitting on the floor of this dining room and she hated this dining room. She said the wallpaper was disgusting and the carpet was disgusting and all this kind of stuff. And she just sat in the floor of the middle of this living room and she was scared. She was like, I don't know how I'm going to pay for things. I don't know how I'm going to support my family. I don't know how what I'm going to do with this house. Like, I can't sell it. Nobody would want it. I just told this story on here not too long ago, I think, but so she started like paying it forward with gratitude, and she just sat there on the floor crying, and she was like, thank you for this beautiful house. Thank you for these beautiful walls, and thank you for, she's paid it forward for what she wanted, you know, and that has been like a lesson for me that like in a moment where I find myself wanting to complain about something, I try to turn it into a gratitude of turning it forward. I try to say, you know, like, thank you for this or thank you for that, and maybe like a way that to put that intention out there in the world. And what was so interesting about that was that things started slowly changing over time for her, and she took the wallpaper off the walls and she painted it and sealed it and put new wallpaper up that she had found like all over the place. And then she took up the carpeting off the floor and found that underneath the carpeting were like authentic hardwoods that were beautiful, and she started like sanding them and doing the work on the house. So years later, this is the part of the story that I've told before, years later, she was interviewed by, I think, Oprah or something, and her house in Malibu, she had a house in Malibu, I think, something like that, if I'm remembering the story correctly. I need to read that book again. She had, her house in Malibu had just been in the magazine Architectural Digest, and like when Oprah asked her something she said about her house, she said, you know what's so funny is, to this day, my daughter's favorite house that we ever lived in was that very first one that we had, that we put all of our love and our heart and our soul and work into that house, you know? And that's the other thing I think really is that life is really not so much about the Porsche Cayenne. Life is about the journey to getting there, you know? And for me, what I had to really realize was I don't change on the inside or the out by driving a Porsche Cayenne. Trust me, I think it would be nice to have one. You know, I'm not going to sit here and act like I don't like nice things, because I absolutely do. But I'm also fully aware that it doesn't change me into being anybody different when I have those things. And it doesn't make me any better or any worse than somebody else. I think, like, it's interesting. I see this a lot with, like, celebrities and stuff. I think that all of a sudden it's like, they carry a bag, and that bag is like magic, and it like changes them in their head into that they're somebody that they're not, and the reality is that's just not the case. And then I've seen a lot of other people that carry very nice bags, and that magic is different, you know? The magic is already inside of them as a wonderful person. And then they just become things, right? Because there's a lot of people out there and this is one of the things that I really realized over time too, is just as many people that are out there that are wanting the nice things, there's a lot of people that could care less about those nice things. There's a lot of people that, I'm sure there's a lot of people watching this video that are like, yeah, those things mean nothing to me. You know, it was interesting because like my mom was always somebody that would love to have a really nice purse, but at the same time, she could totally give it or take it. Like, it didn't really mean that much to her, you know? And it had no, like, it had like a fashionable value of what she liked to look at or enjoy, but it never changed her in any way. And I think, like, I sometimes see a glimmer in people's eyes when they like buy something or whatever, you know? And I've always had to kind of check myself to make sure, because I don't want that to ever become the story of my life where all of a sudden, because I have something new, you know, like, I mean, I'm an addict and an alcoholic. Shopping can do that for me. You know, I have to be careful that buying something doesn't, in my head, like, turn this switch that, like, ooh, like, I'm a different person now because I have this thing, because that's just not true. But what I did realize over time was, and I'm just using the Porsche Cayenne as an example. I mean, it's like, whatever. There were a lot of other things on my list. There's been a lot of other things on my lists. But I think that Porsche Cayenne was on my secrets thing when I first did that or something like that, because in the secret, I think there is something about, like, when you're driving, if you see yourself driving a certain kind of car or something like that. And so I think I thought to myself, well, what kind of car would I see myself driving? Which is so funny. I still like Porsche Cayennes, but I think if I had, like, all the money in the world, that wouldn't be the car that I would buy, which is so funny. But, you know, I think what happens is you realize it's really about the journey, about getting there. It's not about having that thing in the end. You know, it's not about driving that car or having that whatever it is you need, you know. The camera stopped. I was gonna say the happiest day, and then I was gonna say from a financial point of view, but like I don't think that that's ever played into it, you know. My happiest days are not really about that, you know. But like my happiest days, I think, it's funny when you think about like money, right? My happiest days of money things were not in consuming more, but like paying off, being debt free. That was probably one of my biggest days ever. I worked very, very hard to do that. I haven't talked about that on here in a long time, but I used to talk on here a lot about the Dave Ramsey snowball thing that I did, and I really believe in that to this day, because I read that book, Total Money Makeover, and I did so many of those things in there, and I did other things that other people recommended, and it just really worked. Yeah, there's a lot of things, you know, but I think that was probably one of the biggest moments for me. I think also because it put things in perspective for me, as far as like really checking myself for like asking myself the question, like, do you really have the money for this? You know, do you really need this? Because at that time, I can remember, you know, Tanya and I would go to Walmart, or we used to go to Walmart more than we would go to Meijer. And so we would go to the Walmart like, you know, 2 or 3 times a week, and I would just blow money on stuff like candles. I mean, I love candles, don't get me wrong, but like, how many candles can you own at some point? I would just buy all these candles and just crap, t-shirts, you know, just different kinds of like shower gel. I'd want to try something, and you know, before you knew it, it would add up. I'd go in there for deodorant, and it would add up to like $100 or something, right? And that was 2 or 3 times a week. Well, I started not doing that, and I started asking myself, is this something that I want, or is this something that I need? And then, like, if I picked it up and I would hold it, it was like, I was, you know, and so instead of spending $300 a week at Walmart or Meijer, I was instead spending about $20 a week. And then what I did was I started taking that money, which that's a lot of money, and I applied it to, you know, some of this debt, paying off our mortgage, things like that. And, you know, that was security for me as I got older, you know. Like, people always say to me, like, I used to get this question a lot. They're like, oh, you retired early and blah, 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 and how did you even make that possible? And a lot of people got a lot of questions for that. Well, when your output towards bills is not super expensive because you've got it down to a minimum and you really have no major debt that you're paying on anymore because you've paid it off, it's not super difficult to do. I mean, it really isn't. I mean, once you realize that you can live on a lot less. And that was even where I started doing things where I started, you know, setting aside how much I could spend, you know, a week or a month just on shopping or on meditation. Actually, it was a friend of our meditation, I was going to say. Entertainment was what I meant to say. This was actually a friend of Alex's that he used to work with, this girl, she and her husband. They had done the Dave Ramsey book too, and we were talking about it one night at dinner. This was like afterwards with us, so like after that I had like paid stuff off. But she and I were talking, and she had all these envelopes, and I said, what are all the envelopes for? It was like in her purse. And she said, well, what we do at the beginning of the month is we go into it knowing how much money we're going to need for each thing. So from the month before, like they had like I mean, these are people that, like, today, too, like, this was 10 years ago. They drive nice cars. They have a gorgeous home. They travel. They just got back for his, like, 40th birthday. They just got back from somewhere, like, incredible. And they took, like, a bunch of their friends and whatever. So, I mean, it is doable. And I can remember she said, you know, like, we, like, put into these envelopes every week, like, how much we need for bills, how much we need for, like, gas for our cars, how much we need for this and whatever. And she was like, how much we need for the groceries. And then we separate it by week. And then that's the money that we have for that week. And then whatever's extra goes into entertainment. And she was like, and then if there's no money, like, for entertainment would be, like, going out to dinner, going to bars, whatever, seeing movies. And she was like, if there's no money for that week, we just don't do anything. And she was like, then we don't overspend. And she's like, if there is money left over, it carries over into the next month. And then whatever we have left after, like, I think they did it quarterly, like after every 3 months, they would take that money and they would put it into a savings account. And I was like, that is so smart, right? And so we started doing something very similar to that. You know, we did that for a couple years until we didn't have to anymore, until we, like, had some savings set up and we really understood how to spend money and started asking ourselves, do we really need this? Do we really want this, you know? And, yeah, and it really made me realize the difference between just frivolous spending, because I did do a lot of frivolous spending of things that, like, I just didn't need. I mean, let's not even talk about so much, like, the Porsche Cayenne. Let's talk about, you know, 10 candles at $10, or, you know, 5 candles at $9.99 each at Walmart is, you know, $50. Like, it adds up, right? Like, it doesn't even have to be fancy stuff. Hell, I always joke about, like, you know, my dream gift would be a $1,000 gift card to the Meijer. I could just walk around and buy all kinds of crap I didn't need. Do you know what I'm saying? I just realized that Alex gave me that gift card for Target for my birthday, and I've only used half of that gift card. I'm gonna have to buy myself something with that. I get gift cards from people for holidays, and then I never end up spending them. I mean, they don't expire or anything, but, like, I have, like, 2 Barnes & Noble, a half-price books. I have them, like, in this area separated for them. I think the other thing I have to remember, too, is, and this is something that somebody said to me a long time ago, and I love this quote, and I've lived by this for a very long time, and this is applicable to so many things, is my short-term happiness more important than my long-term joy? And I think that's the saying. And, you know, it's really important for me to ask myself that question, especially, like, I mean, you talk about when you're buying something, yes, but in anything that you're doing. I mean, you can be in fighting with somebody and say, is my short-term happiness to be right now? Is it worth the long run of me not being friends with this person, or not talking to this person anymore, or not talking to my partner anymore, or separating, or, I mean, just because I have to be right in this situation, right? Or you can ask yourself that situation with anything, you know? You can do that with food. You know, is my short-term happiness of eating, you know, all of this fast food more important than my long-term goal of, you know, wanting to be in shape and be healthy, or all those kinds of things, you know? And that was, like, one of the things that Alex and I had to start doing as a couple, was we had to start, you know, we knew we wanted to travel. I can remember we used to buy all kinds of crap. I mean, I still buy stuff, right? But I don't buy things today that I don't have the money for, period, end of story. And if I buy stuff, or if you see me talking about it in a video, or I did this or I did that, that's because I've got the money sitting there in an account ready to, that I have put it aside to spend. But I can remember a couple years ago, I said to Alex something about, other than, like, redoing our house, he said, because we have a friend a couple that is a friend of ours, they like don't really like spend money on a whole lot, and they started traveling, and they take like 2 to 3 pretty extensive trips a year. When I say extensive, I mean like 10 days in India, 10 days, and I mean they're like marathon runners, and so they go to like all over these places and they run marathons and stuff, but they save their money for these trips. And Alex is like, I really want to start saving our money for experiences. Like, I want to start saving our money for going on trips and having experiences. He was like, I don't want to just like blow money on this, you know. And now Alex and I, like, I think our goals for going further, you know, in our life is having the condo be redone the way exactly how we wanted to have it done. So we have the condo of our dreams here, get a place in Florida, or decide that we're going to just go down there, like, you know, every 3rd month and get an Airbnb and travel. I think that's it. I mean, I think those are the next goals in our lives, you know, and those are pretty good goals for where we're at. I feel so incredibly, amazingly blessed for the life that I have. But I'm a big believer in that too, is you have to pay it forward in gratitude. And you have to be happy for all the small things you have, you know? And, you know, you have to be... I mean, I stepped outside tonight and it was like so cold. And I can remember I was just like walking to my car and I was thinking to myself, I feel so blessed that I have like a roof over my head. I can't imagine. I feel so bad for the people that have no home tonight, you know, that are sleeping outside in this. I can't even imagine. And that is the reality for a lot of people. I can't forget that, you know. Those are the things that put it all in perspective for me. Those are the things that make me realize what matters, you know. When you've lost family and you're still relatively young, you know, I like talking to a lot of my friends this week, and they're like, well, my grandma, you know, she's like in her 90s, but she's still hanging in there. We're just, you know, like happy that grandma can make it to one more Christmas. I'm like, I don't even have aunts or uncles or anything anymore. Hell, I don't even have a mom, you know. And it puts it really in perspective. It really, I don't know, it's like tonight I was like dancing with Alex's mom and stuff like that, and she was like, come on, dance. And, you know, I was like, why wouldn't I when, you know, you don't know how long you're going to be able to dance. Dance with people when they ask you to, you know? And that's it. The end of the, you know, the end of the world. It's just like, that's, I think, what's the end of our lives. That's what's really important, are those priceless moments with people, you know? That's what really matters. It's funny because when people say to me, you work from home, they'll say, what's the thing that you like the most about that? And I think that people expect me to say things like, well, I make my own schedule, or, you know, whatever, which, yeah, all that's nice, or I'm my own boss. But you know, the thing that always comes to my mind first is I get to spend the entire day with my dogs. I love that I get to spend my entire day with my dogs. You know? It's like when people, it's interesting the questions I get from people. Like people say, like with Alex and I, how do you keep the passion alive and all this kind of stuff? Well, I want to be in love with my husband. I want to look at my husband and still want to do it with him. You know what I mean? Like, I want that. I don't want to look at my husband and just feel like we're partners, you know, sharing space. I've been there. You know, Alex and I have been close to there in our marriage. You know how we were headed to Divorce City. If I'm going to be with my husband in a relationship, I want to be with my husband. You know, I want to be with him to the point where I look over at him and I just think, God, I feel so blessed. That man is so sexy and he just makes me so happy. We were on the way home talking and laughing and whatever, and he just grabbed my hand, you know, and it was so nice. Like, I love that about my husband, you know. Those are the things that matter. You know, we're seeing my mother-in-law dance around tonight and just be just so full. She's always so full of joy, you know, and getting excited to see my cousin Caroline because she's just so happy and funny, and, you know, her house is just always so Christmassy and cozy, and I love it. And, you know, it's just all of those things, you know, and seeing Tanya Jean and hanging out with my girlfriends, getting my coin and going out to dinner. And I just, like, that moment, I just, like, looked at everybody and everybody's talking and laughing and opening presents. And I just thought, this is what I've always wanted, you know, right here. I wanted to belong. I wanted to be part of something. And I don't know, maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's it after all of this loss that I've had in my life. Maybe it's after all of these. Oh my God, my battery just started beeping at me. It died. I didn't even know that it was anywhere close to the end because I hadn't been looking at it. But what I was going to say was, maybe that's what it is, you know, that after all of these years and all this loss and feeling like an outsider and being bullied when I was younger and, you know, being an only child and having a small family and having lost my mom and, all, you know, on and on and on and all this kind of stuff, right? Maybe after all of that, maybe I had to go through all of that, I don't know, to appreciate how much it means to be part of my, like, family with my in-laws and just be sitting there and just, like, this happiness that I felt inside watching. My mom would have loved that, you know, just to dance around. I mean, she moved the dining room table so we could all dance in the living room, you know? And, or just to feel so grateful to have my cousin's house to go to for Christmas, or that she's so welcoming that she's like, yeah, Alex's mom. I mean, I think from now on we'll probably do all of our holidays together, all of us. And, don't you hate that when you blink your lights at somebody to be nice and then they blink them back at you like you go? And I'm just like, I'm not going to argue with you. Just like, go, okay. But, you know, or like my friends, that, I mean, I have a really tight group of friends in recovery right now. And Tanya and I have lost that for a while. And I think that life ebbs and flows. I think that it comes and goes. And I think people come in and people go out, and we have people and we lose people. And I think there are lonely moments and there are moments of solitude. And I think there are moments where we, you know, have a lot of people in our lives. But I feel like right now, sound like the Pat Benatar song, but I feel like right now in my life I belong in several different circles, and it makes me happy. And I think that's all I've ever wanted. I've wanted to look at the world from the inside instead of from the outside looking in, which is how I felt for a very long time. Really, most of my life I have felt like I was on the outside looking in, and I didn't matter, and I wasn't valuable, and I wasn't loved. And then it was like each person that did mean something to me was taken. And so I didn't even have that anymore. I just had, you know, a few people in my life that, and I think that's the other thing. It's made me really, really appreciate the people that I have in my life and be extremely grateful for them. Because I don't want to lose any more people. And the reality is I know that I will, because that's life. But what that does is it makes me really, truly appreciate having them today in my life. And so I can love on them a little bit more, you know? I can love on them a little bit more, and they can love on me, and I can allow them to do that and not be afraid of that relationship. And I think that's really what I've wanted all along, is just to mean something to somebody and to have somebody love me, you know, and I have that overflowing today, and I just feel so incredibly blessed for that. And you guys are a huge part of that. Like, I mean, let's just be for real. You know, at any time I want, I can open the vlog and, like, look at the comments on there, and you guys are just, like, unbelievable to me. I mean, it's really, really, you guys, I don't know. The start of the Vloggerinos group this year has really done something to me. I don't know what it was, like in a really magical way. Really, you know, I was getting to a point with social media, and that includes any of it, okay? I love Instagram, but even Instagram at times can be, I always say that I don't feel like it can be toxic or negative, but I feel like that it can be toxic and negative too. I think it perpetuates unhealthy standards of what people should look like, or unhealthy standards of how people should live and whatever. I can't tell you how many times I've rolled through Instagram and thought to myself, well, why don't I have that? Or why doesn't my house look like this? Or why don't I look like him? Or, you know what I mean? Like, and so I think Instagram creates these unhealthy standards for how people live. And really, it was kind of in the comments that people would leave in my videos when I would talk about Instagram, that people would say, yeah, it's not as healthy as you think it is. And so, you know, but like on all social media, I think, maybe with the exception of Goodreads, I think there can be toxicity and negativity. And I was kind of getting to the point where I just completely wanted to unplug, and, you know, doing YouTube videos and interacting with people, that's not really I mean, in all honesty, it's not really a possibility. I could, but how successful are you, you know, as a person who is like, you make videos on YouTube and then you don't interact? I to be honest with you, it really bothers me when I go to like YouTubers video. I'm like looking for their Twitter, I'm looking for their Instagram, and they don't have any, and I'm just like, why would you not have that to interact with, like, so people can get a message to you or something? Like, I don't know why. But anyway, that's just my own little personal thing, pet peeve. We'll call it whatever it is that bothers me. This just happened the other day. I was looking for somebody. I was like, you don't have a Twitter? I was like, okay, whatever. So anyway, no, Peter, not everybody has a Twitter. So, but you know, like, the comment sections from this vlog and how kind you guys are to one another take me out of the equation, right? Like that, if somebody's going through somebody, that there's 8 to 10 responses underneath there of people just glowingly being like, oh, Peter, this, or, I mean, not me, oh, this, or oh, that, or like, I'm really sorry you're going through this, or I'm really sorry you're going through that, or whatever, you know, and like, hey, sending prayers, sending positivity. I mean, you guys are unbelievable to each other, you know, so nice, so compassionate. And then this started the Vloggerinos group. And I go over there and I read the things that people post, and it just warms my heart. It makes me so happy, you know? And I'm like, okay, this has rekindled my faith in social media. But here's the deal. Social media, at the end of the day, is really people. It's not just Twitter or Instagram or Facebook. Social media is people. Social media accounts are the accounts. I mean, this is not genius, right? I mean, this is, everybody knows this. They're the accounts behind people. So when I say I've lost faith in social media, and what I'm really saying is I've lost faith in people. I think to some degree I had, you know, and I think there have been at times in my life when I've even been part of that, and I don't want to anymore. And that Vloggerinos group has made me rekindle my faith in people, I think. And wow, that happened through a social media Facebook group. I think it's pretty cool, you know? I think it's really, really cool. So I want to say thank you for that. And I just feel full this year I feel like going into the new year and going into the holiday, I just feel like my life is exactly where I want it to be, you know? And I mean, health-wise, I obviously would be healthier, but I'm the one that stands in the way of that, nobody else. It's all my own doing, you know? I'm just incredibly grateful today. So, with that being said, I do have to tell you guys a secret. I did not finish my audiobook last night. I literally have like 48 minutes left, you guys, to finish. Okay, let me tell you what happened. I was on my way home, and I was like, okay, I was real close to the house, and I was like, I have to go to the bathroom. So I was like, I'm gonna go inside, take my stuff inside, and then I'm gonna come back out, and I'm gonna finish the audiobook for 48 minutes, right? But I got inside, and it was so toasty warm, and I didn't want to leave. So I pulled out this cheese that I have in the refrigerator and these pretzels, and I was like, what can I watch on TV before I go to bed? I'll just finish the audiobook tomorrow. And so I watched the last 2.5 episodes of Tiger King 2, and oh my God, you guys, It was so good. It was so good. But it left so many unanswered questions. So, of course, there's going to be a Tiger King 3. There has to be. But it left me with so many unanswered questions. And you know what? Like, I didn't want to Google search it until, I'm going to say this, and this is, I would say it's kind of like a half spoil. It's a spoil in that it's going to tell you guys, like, an issue that they talk about, but I won't tell you what they find out. So, I thought I had read somewhere an update on Don Lewis, okay, who was Carol Baskin's husband that disappeared. I thought I had read an update on, I don't really even know how to say this without ruining it for anybody. Well, I knew this this is what I thought I had read going into it. So if it didn't ruin it for me, it won't ruin it for anybody else. I thought that the series had come out, Tiger King 2, and Don Lewis made a statement and said that he was alive and well in somewhere, and that Carol Baskin could go on with her life and not worry about him. That's what I thought had happened. That I had read somewhere that Don Lewis had come out and made a statement, and so we knew that he was, like, alive and well in, like, some other country, right? Well, that is not the story. And I have to tell you that a good 2 episodes out of the, I think it was 6 episodes, were dedicated to Carol Baskin and Don Lewis, and I think they need to make an entire series about that. That was the most interesting part of this whole thing to me, other than the setup of Joe Exotic. And when you start hearing about this set, I mean, you guys, it really is interesting, because it is more true crime. Tiger King 2 is really true crime compared to the first one. The first one was a documentary about this guy that was kind of silly, you know, and owned this tiger farm or thing, or tiger zoo and all this kind of stuff, which I always had such huge issues with those zoos. I will tell you, the way that the Tiger King 2 season ends, if you are an animal lover or if you have issues with those what are they, roadside zoos, they call them, or whatever. I don't even really like conventional zoos, if you want to know the truth. I don't really know how I feel about it. I mean, I understand that, like, trained people work at those zoos and stuff. I still don't like it. I just don't. But I will tell you that the end of it ends really on a nice note. And that will ruin the rest of the show for you. But like, in regards to the animals, like, it ends on a you have to watch it through, because there's, like, the very end, there's kind of like a bloopers reel thing, and you think it's over, and then it comes back, and it, like, I looked on my, like, iPad, and there was, like, 10 minutes left, and 7 minutes or something like that. It comes back, and it shows you, like, what has happened at the very end. So make sure that you watch the very end. But I'm telling you, Tiger King 2 is like a true crime series. I don't even know that you would have to watch Tiger King 1 to watch Tiger King 2, but it would definitely make it more interesting. Like, you wouldn't, I think there would be a lot that you wouldn't know. I'm going to tell you, like, right now, I'm, like, sitting here thinking to myself, what are some of the shows, like, if it was the holiday season and I was off because I love documentaries, what would I binge? I loved The Keepers, but it's unresolved. That was my thing with The Keepers. I thought it was so fantastically done, but Making of a Murderer, that was so binge-worthy. Alex and I binge-watched that whole, I think, second season. I don't know if it was the first season or the second season, like, literally in 2 days. And I had started watching, I think it was the first season. It was the first season. I had started watching episode 1, and I was going into episode 2, and then Alex laid down to watch it with me, and I said, well, let's just go back and watch episode 1. So we watched it, episode 1, or I had started it or something. We watched the whole thing. Brendan Dassey couldn't have done it. I love that Kathleen Zellner so much. But anyway, that one, I'm just talking about true crime stuff now. The Staircase, it's kind of a slow burn. I don't know. That one was filmed over 10 years. Don't F with Cats, I think, is probably one of the best documentaries on... They kind of talk about citizen detectives a little bit on Tiger King. There's some citizen detectives in there. There's a guy named Ripper, who is apparently on YouTube. He's real famous on YouTube, I guess, as like a citizen detective or something. I started kind of like looking him up. I was like, I need to follow this guy because I want to get into this. I want to be a citizen detective. That's what my next job. That's what my next job is going to be, as a citizen detective. I'm like really hungry for something. I don't know, a donut, a breakfast sandwich, or something. I don't know what. Which, unless I, make them at home, that's almost kind of impossible. There's the red truck. Seriously, you guys, every morning. How is that red truck there? Do you see? There it is over there. Red truck. How is it there every morning? Don't F with Cats. The Cecil B Hotel in Los Angeles. That was a really good one. That ended sad, though. That was more sad than scary. Don't F with Cats is probably one of the best ones. God, I wish I could get Alex to watch it. I would watch it again. Tiger King was really good. I have to tell you, Tiger King 2, I almost think was better than Tiger King 1. I really do. It kind of held its own. I can't think of what else. If I don't remember it like really well, it probably didn't stand out to me. Now, the one I did like, and I remember it, but I watched it so long ago. I feel like it was like 4 parts, and it was about this guy they strapped a bomb to. Do you guys know which one I'm talking about? And the people that were like super smart, like genius level, but like you couldn't come on the guy's property. I don't really remember much about it. I remember I thought it was scary though, watching it. Oh, the Paradise Lost documentaries about the West Memphis 3. Those are so fantastic. The Eileen Wuornos documentaries. Those are so fantastic. The West Memphis 3 is interesting because that's a really scary story. That's a really scary documentary to watch. The music makes it really scary. Just the footage is really scary. And that's also an ongoing story over a period of time. Oh, you know which one I watched? I think I watched it this year and I really liked it. Was that Middle Beach one that was on HBO Max that kid did about his mom's murder. I thought that was really good. It was like inconclusive too. Oh, what was the one that I watched on that Discovery Plus that my friend told me to watch? Not Resentful, not Revengeful. It was something with an R word, though. I can't remember. About the girl that had gone missing in, I think, Ohio? That one, oh my God, that one, I don't even remember what it was called, but it was something about Ohio. I actually watched that on TV. It was like a 6-part series on TV, and they weren't able to finish it. But it was about these missing, I think it was just called The Missing Girls of Ohio. And it was so well done. And it was these girls that were all like heroin addicts that were prostituting in this like 3-city area in Ohio. And like kind of like all like linking it back to this guy that was like a drug dealer. I think that was unresolved as well. I can't remember what that one was called on Discovery Plus, but if you put in like R.E., it'll come up. Relentless, that's what it was called. That was so good. I really, really liked that. Oh, how can I ever forget this? Best one I watched this year, Hell in the Heartland, Jax Miller. That's on HBO Max too. That is so good. That one I watched in the hotel room on Valentine's Day. God, that seems like that was so long ago, Valentine's Day. We had really bad snow on Valentine's Day that night. That was really fun. Oh, maybe Alex and I will have to do that again this year. That was a really fun date. We'll see. And then I'll get another movie and I'll watch another movie. It'll be so fun and watch it in the hotel room. Anyway. Well, listen, you guys, I'm going to get off here now. And now I'm all excited to watch a documentary, and I don't know how many documentaries to watch. So if you have a new documentary that I should watch, put it in the comment section below. Anything, aliens, true crime, murder mystery, anything like that that's suspenseful I like. And I'm going to get off here now so I can finish. I have to finish my audiobook tonight, even though it's like almost 6 o'clock in the morning. I have to finish it tonight. I have to. So anyway, If nobody else has told you this today, I love you. And I hope that you guys are having a magically amazing Thursday. Christmas Eve. I love it. 2 of my favorite days, Christmas Eve and Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. But I really like Christmas Eve the most, and then I like Christmas Eve and then Christmas Day. I don't know why. I just love the excitement of it all and getting excited about it. So, all right, you guys, I'm gonna get off here, and I love you guys so much, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya! Oh, and for those that hung around, and those that need to hear it, and those that want to hear it, and those that just happened to stick around, like I said, one more I love you. Happy birthday, Elena. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya! And I'm trying not to shout at the end of videos anymore, so I don't wake people up. I love you. Bye. Love ya!